Welcome to another video. In today's video we are going to solve special array 2 problem from the Leetcode. In this problem we will be given an array of numbers and certain queries. We have to determine whether a given query is special or not. A given query represents a starting index and an end index, and we have to determine whether the range represented by starting index and the end index contain any two consecutive elements such that both are even or odd. If there are any two such elements in which both are even or odd, then we have to say that that range is not special. In that case, we have to mark that query as false. Consider this first example. These are the given numbers and the given query is 0 to 4. 0 to 4 represents this particular range, and we have to see if there are any two consecutive elements such that both are even or odd. In this case, if we observe these two elements which are at the end of the array, 2 and 6 are even. So this query is not special and we are going to return false for this query. Similarly, consider this second example. The given numbers are 4, 3, 1 and 6. Let's consider this first query, 0 to 2, and it represents this range. In this range, are there any two elements such that both are even or odd? Yes, we can say that here there are two elements which are consecutive and both are odd. So for the first query, we have to return false. And let's consider this second query. Here the query represents index 2 to 3. In this range, are there any two consecutive elements such that both are even or odd? Here we can't find any two such consecutive elements, so we have to return true. How can we solve this problem? I'm going to explain the solution along with the code so that it gives you a better understanding. First thing that we are going to do is we are going to declare an array, and I'm going to call this as pairs count. This will be of same size as nums, and initially all the elements will be set to 0. And we need another vector of boolean type to hold our answers. I'm going to call this as is special. Size of this vector will be of queries.size, and initially I'm going to set it as true for all the queries. Next thing that we are going to do is we are going to go through the array. We'll start at index 1 because at index 0 we cannot have any previous pair. So we are going to start at index 1 and we are going to go through all the numbers in the array. And at each index I am going to check whether that number which is present at the ith index have the same parity with the number which is present at the index I minus 1. What I am going to check here is I am going to check whether both the numbers which are present at index I and I minus 1 are even or odd. So how I am going to check that? I am going to check whether nums of I mod 2 is equal to nums of I minus 1 mod 2. If this condition is true, then the numbers which are present at index I and I minus 1 either both are even or both are odd numbers. So at that point I'm going to keep another counter and I'm going to call it as j, and I'm going to initialize it as 0, and at that point I'm going to increment this count, and for this pairs count of I, I'm going to assign j. So what I'm doing here is in this for loop I'm going through all the numbers in the array, and whenever I find a pair in which both are even or odd, I'm going to increment this counter and I'm going to assign it to that particular position. This pairs count array represents the number of such pairs seen till that index I. After that I'm going to go through all the queries I equal to 0, I less than queries.size, and I'm going to extract start index from the query. Start index will be for the ith query, and the first element which is present at the query represents the starting index, and we are going to extract the end index as well. Queries of I, and the element which is present at the index 1 represents the end index. And now we have to determine within that range from start index to end index if there are any two consecutive elements such that both are even or odd. For that we can use this very simple trick, which is whether pairs count of start index is not equal to pairs count of end index. If this condition is satisfied, then we can say that this is not special. Why it is not special? I'm going to explain it in a minute. Is special of I will be set to false. Why this is the case? If both are not equal to each other, then that means in between from start index to end index we found a pair and we incremented this counter and assigned it. So that's why we can say that if pairs count of start index is not matching with pairs count of the end index, then there will definitely at least one pair which has the same parity. Finally, we are going to return this is special answer array. Let's run this solution and check whether it passes all the initial test cases or not. As you can see here, this is passing the initial test cases. Let's submit this solution and check whether it passes all the test cases or not. Yes, as you can see here, this solution is passing all the test cases. Time complexity is O of n because we are going through the array once, and the space complexity is also O of n because we are declaring an array of size n to compute the answer. I hope you like this video. If you are interested in learning more about other data structures and algorithm related problems, please check out other videos from my channel. Thanks for watching this video.